Hello, everyone, and welcome to the VFLW Game Changers show. I'm your host, Scoops, the sole admin of Scoops. What a round of VFLW footy it was. We had some blowouts. We had some teams trying to come back and almost stole it. We've had teams just hold on by the barest of margins. We've had a bit of everything in the VFLW competition this year, this round and last week to be precise, but great to see some close games as well, and we're going to go through each and every one of them games individually. Preview the rounds just gone and upcoming. Let's talk about my team of the week, the heavily debated team of the week. Scoops goes bang on a particular topic this evening. And also, of course, I will mention yet again that my Scoops VFLW medal will be at the end of the home and away season during the final series, and I'll do my Brownlow predictions in other words. I've been doing my votes every week. I won't be revealing on this show because I want a big extravaganza show at the end of the year. Now, no one could ever question my dedication to this channel through AFLW, AFL, VFLW, State League Footy, Waffle W, Sample W, etc. And just the communication and everything like that around everything. That today, while this video is recording and when this is posted, will be my birthday. So feel free to send some comments down below. I would greatly appreciate it. Or send me a message on Instagram, AFL Live. I really appreciate it. But nothing stops for the channel. So just wanted to prove my dedication to this channel even more than I already have. So, yes, it's my birthday. So there we go. Now, let's now start off with the world famous segment, Scoops Goes Bang. Well, what am I going to rant on about this evening? It's just a topic that is always, crossing my mind in terms of like the round clock and everything like that, or the clock doesn't stop, and everything like that. But today I'm going to mention the time slots in games. So you see a lot of games clashing, okay? You see a lot of games early, like 10:05, 11:05, 10:35, 12:05, 1:05, sometimes 2:35, and that's rare. I understand sometimes they're double headers to the VFL men's game. Sometimes they're just neutral games. So why do they have to be so early? And why are they so close together? As a fan of the competition, I would like to go to as many games as possible, but it's very hard also when some grounds are in the middle of nowhere and they start at 10:30 in the morning. It's like, that's just almost impossible to get to. So like it stuffs around everything, and then you've got clashes with other games and everything like that and other commitments as well. So it makes it even harder. So not just for me, and I've spoken to a lot of people that want to go to a lot of VFLW games, whether they can or can't, or they can't go to as many as they want to go because of the time slots. And it's something that annoys me as well. I think the time slots need to be much later. This 10 o'clock starts, no. If there's a rare one, okay, whatever. If it's a double header for a VFL game or whatever it is, state championship game for under 18s, men's or women's, whatever, that's fine. I get that. Also, there should be more games on Sundays. There shouldn't be like all the games in one day. They should be spread out over the 3 days, Friday night, or even in the day if there's a public holiday or whatever, which has been some recently. But this 10 o'clock time starts, I don't like it. What do you think? Comment down below. I don't like it at all. I feel like a lot of these games should stop clashing with each other. Want people to go to the games, stop putting them too close together. Even have double headers at the same ground for the VFLW competition if you must. Something like that, you can play at Whitten Oval, Icon Park, which is the background picture of this VFLW show, the VFLW Game Changers. Icon Park, Vic Park, the AIA Centre, Punt Road. Play at some grounds like that where they're very close. Now, Williamstown and Port Melbourne got ETU Stadium for Port Melbourne. Williamstown is DSV Oval, I think it's called. All I know, Williamstown's ground is the beach in the background. It's so windy, the windiest ground I've ever seen, with Windy Hill. Play games at Windy Hill, that's fine. But grounds that are like 3 hours away, or an hour and a half away from Melbourne City, it's just too far. Or the transportation, like trains and that, it's just just frustrating. You can't get to games at 10 o'clock in the morning for a ground an hour and a half away, and the train lines don't go anywhere near the ground. And if you get bus replacements or part bus, tram, wasting so much money on Uber money, Uber driving, you have to go into Uber and waste a lot more money. They should be factoring in all these things. The time slots are too early, and they're going to stop being at grounds too early that are so far away from even some of the other teams. It's not just someone from Geelong like I am, but I'm happy to go to games in Melbourne that are like 11 o'clock or whatever. But they can't be at grounds so far away, and a lot of people are in the same boat as me. They would love to go to more, but also they clash like 4 games on within an hour of each other. You can't go to the other 3. Some people like myself will want to go to double headers and do 2 or 3 games in a day, but we basically can't because how the fixturing is structured and the time slots and the venues, it's just not physically possible to do so. Then you would have to leave games early, and the whole reason you go is to see a whole game. So it's just frustrating. I don't know what you think, everyone. Comment down below, like I said before. It's just a topic that's really annoying me with the time slots and the venues. So to the competition, please alter this. I would greatly, greatly appreciate it. And so would so many more people. Hope you guys and girls enjoyed that edition of the world famous segment, Scoops Goes Bang. Now, it's time to go through my Scoops Round 2 VFLW Team of the Week. Now, this week, I'm going to stress enough how many dominant midfielders there were. Some are going to be on the bench, and some may not even make the team in the end. It's going to be harsh for some, but unfortunately, it's just what it is. At the back line, from the pockets, Saray Taylor and Matilda Van Berkel. Full back, Taya Chambers. Half back line, the flankers, Stella Reid and Lulu Field. Centre half back, Tessa Boyd. Wingers, Lulu Beattie and Megan Fitzsimon. Centre woman, Charlotte Baskaran. Half forward line, the flankers, Heidi Woodley and Grace Baloney. Centre half forward, Annalee McKee. Forward pockets, Mia Bush and Lila Keck. Full forward, Lucy Burke. Ruck, Georgia Campbell. Rovers, Amy Tredade, and Chloe Adams. Interchange, Ann Gokas, Ali Gavalis, Emily Eves, Brooke Vickers, and Jazz Smith. Emergencies, Octavia D. Donato, Eliza Shannon, and Charlie Ryan. Now, this team was so hard to choose. So here's the graphic for everyone here. Let me remove that banner. Georgia Campbell had about 15 disposals for Casey and had 53 hitouts. And that's with some teammates chopping out in the ruck as well. The Sandy rucks combined was about 20, and Georgia had 53 alone. I think overall it was like 75 to 20 hitouts. Dominance in the ruck battle for Georgia Campbell in particular. It's just a non-negotiable. 53 hitouts, 15 disposals, and they almost won the game. The Casey Demons in a very good effort. They almost scared Sandy, who should have won pretty comfortably. So she absolutely was the first ruck thought of and the only ruck thought of for this round. She was terrific. So going in the back line now, Saray Taylor for the Demons is a really solid contributor in the VFLW side in the back half, and she had about 15 disposals and like 7 intercept possessions. It was really, really good. Taya Chambers, the same. Intercept possessions, I think it was at 7 or 8. Had about 10 disposals as well and played a part in the Bombers' big win over Collingwood. Shock win, might I add. But then again, they played 10 AFLW players in that game. Matilda Van Berkel for the Hawks, Box Hill side. They had a come from behind win over Port Melbourne, and she was a key part in that side, having about 15 possessions and about 7 intercept possessions off the top of my head. Stella Reid, what a stellar performance. It's back-to-back weeks for Stella Reid, having great games. Stellar performance, playing half-back role for North Melbourne's VFLW side of Stella Reid. She was terrific, 22 odd disposals, like 9 intercept possessions. She was a lock. Tessa Boyd, who was also in the team of the week last week, was fantastic for the Roos as well off the back line. Had about the same stats, about 20 disposals and about 8 intercept possessions. Lulu Field for the Blues in their good win over Geelong. She had 18 disposals and played a key part in why the Blues got the win. A lot of players did. Former Blue, current Darebin Falcon, and the person on the right-hand side of your screen right now, Lulu Beattie. Former Blue, playing for Darebin Falcons, her original club, who I interviewed only days before her return to Darebin after originally being there before joining Carlton's AFLW side. still should be on an AFLW list, is Lulu Beattie, and she's had some injuries in her first year. Last year, she played 6 games in the AFLW for the Blues. Should have played them all. She was too good to not be in the side. Should be back on the AFLW list at the end of this year or during this VFLW season, as a lot of clubs have list spots still available. Lulu Beattie played on the wing. She was coming back from a hand injury, as she told me on the podcast, which you should go check that out. I would greatly appreciate it. Yeah, it was great to see Lulu back and doing what she does best. 28 disposals, like 13 marks, like 10 intercept possessions. I got to catch the end of that game, and in that fourth quarter match day vlog highlights that I put on Instagram, Lulu was everywhere. Wears the number 4, plays on the wing, can play off halfback as well. She was just phenomenal. And I mean, if it wasn't for her and her teammate Ange Gokus, it may not have been the result. Well, it would have been maybe a worse result if Lulu didn't play how she did. Charlotte Baskaran for Sandy, the current Saints AFLW star recruit, who I've had on the podcast as well. Charlotte was terrific. Like 14 tackles, 22 odd disposals. Was a key part to why Sandy held on and got the win. She is an absolute star, and I can't wait to see her at the Saints AFLW side. Current Demon AFLW player Megan Fitzsimon Fitzy, 30 disposals, like 14 tackles. Fitzy is having a great patch of form in the VFLW and the back end of Melbourne's AFLW season, racking up big numbers, tackles, and impacting games. So he used to play mainly as a small forward, but Fitzy is doing a terrific job, and she must be really proud of the way that she's continuing her back end of the season in the AFLW and translating that to the VFLW season so far. Be interesting to see how many of these AFLW players continue to play on in the VFLW season, with pre-season starting May 12th. So only a few weeks away, if that. Heidi Woodley for the Bulldogs, 2 goals, like 18 disposals, really good. 20 disposals rather, 2 goals and 20, absolute star. Annalene McKee, 1 goal, 18 disposals, played some ruck at 16 hitouts, mainly in the first half, but she still played really well and dominant again. The team, Grace Baloney, one of the Bombers' top draftees, had 2 goals and like 14 disposals, deserved a spot on the side. Mia Bush, 3 behind, 17 disposals. So playing more of a forward role, Mia Bush, normally a lockdown defender. Deserves a spot in the team. But yeah, also, Lucy Burkitt, 3 goals for the Blues, the former Roo, 10 disposals, deserves a spot on the side. Lila Keck kicked a couple of goals with 18 disposals, deserves a spot as well. Already mentioned Georgia Campbell and how great she was. Amy Trinidad, 30 disposals. She was awesome. Absolutely dominant. Back-to-back weeks for Amy Trinidad. She was terrific. 30 disposals, like 11 tackles, and absolutely deserved a spot on the side. Chloe Adams, the current Essendon AFLW young star, 20 disposals, a goal, 10 tackles, like 9 clearances. Chloe was everywhere and absolutely warranted a spot in the starting midfield. Ange Gokus had 32 disposals, back-to-back 30 disposal games for Ange Gokus. As I said, I saw that game. She was very good, but I thought her disposal efficiency kind of let her down a little bit in terms of getting a starting spot compared to the other mids, but she still was terrific and a keeper while Darebin were in the contest for the back half of the game. Ali Gavalis, 25 disposals and a goal. She would have made the team of the week almost any other week, but the other midfielders racked up key numbers and played big parts like Ali did. But, I felt like the other mids I had on field played a better all-round game, but she was still terrific, and most other weeks she'll be in the starting team. Emily Eves, she couldn't do much wrong. Hit a goal, 21 disposals, 9 clearances. Again, that would get you in any other week. But who do you take out of that midfield? You just simply cannot take anyone out. So she was great. Very, very stiff. She was one of the first midfielders that came to mind when doing this team and going, yep, she'll be in. And then, she kept getting pushed out, unfortunately. Brooke Vickers kicked a goal, 27 disposals with the current Blue AFLW player. Kicked a goal, 27, had like 9 clearances. Absolutely deserved a spot on the side. Again, like Emily Eves, would have made the team of the week any other week. But very harsh, I know. I could have put her at half forward and pushed one of the forwards to the bench, but very harsh. And Jazz Smith, 20 disposals for the current Bulldogs AFLW youngster. And she played a part as well, and particularly in the first half of the game. A bit like Annalene McKee. So, and then again, the emergencies, I don't know why they didn't appear on the screen for, but it's Octavia Di Donato from Carlton, kicked a goal in 21. She was very stiff. Eliza Shannon, 21 off the back half of the ground, very stiff. And Charlie Ryan, 18 disposals for the Roos as well. So that's my team of the week. Comment down below what you think of it. I think it's a really, really strong team. And there were some other players I didn't even mention that could have got a spot in the team of the week. All right, now let's go mention a few things. Unfortunately, Bombers AFLW young star Emily Goff suffered an ACL injury. The current Bombers AFLW young star draftee from the previous year, a key forward, can play backup ruck. Unfortunately, today it's confirmed that she's unfortunately ruptured her ACL. So we wish Emily Goff all the best. I've had her on the podcast before, so it's no shit to see for anyone to get, but she'll push through it. I saw what she posted on Insta before that, when she comes back out of it, she'll be back firing back to what she was doing before this injury. So we wish Goffy all the best. Now, let's go review the round 2 games from the VFLW on the weekend, shall we? So, well, where do I start? North Melbourne 44, Williamstown 25. This wasn't your typical dominant North Melbourne game. I mean, I feel like they did what they had to do without being amazing, but still did the job to get the job done. Williamstown, despite their 2 games this year, I think they are still a decent side. They weren't disgraced against North Melbourne, who are the reigning premiers and probably, to some, a clear favourite for the premiership again this year. I mean, I don't think it's that tight, but I still think North are the favourite, though. Williamstown were really good. Emily Eves was great. Stella Reid, Charlie Ryan, Eliza Shannon, Tessa Boyd, Stella Reid. So North Melbourne just got stars everywhere. Some former AFLW players, current VFLW listed players, just doing very, very well for the Roos, and Nike to Jock kicked a goal for the Roos as well. For Williamstown, as I said, Emily Eves was the key standout for them through the midfield. Their best midfielder, and you could argue possibly their best player. The next game to go through is Western Bulldogs 42, Darebin 21. Bulldogs by 21 points. I mean, as I said, I caught the end of the game, but I was keeping track of the game the whole way through. But physically in person, I saw the whole last quarter. And Darebin dominated. They kicked a few goals through Sabine. She kicked 2 goals, which was great for her and the team. But they just played all-round fantastic footy in that last quarter. Like, they dominated. I reckon they had about 95% of that quarter in their forward half of the ground. They created a lot of opportunities, and they capitalised on almost every opportunity going inside 50, which is great. Lulu Beattie, her delivery inside 50 was terrific. Shannon Egan in the ruck, I thought, had a really good last quarter and made her presence known. Ange Gokus tried hard, got the ball out of the packs and everything like that, and did her role. One of their experienced players, probably their most experienced player through games and age, and has done very well. For the Bulldogs, Annalene McKee, Jazz Smith, Heidi Woodley, players like that play their part. Marley McLeod kicked the first goal of the last quarter. But yeah, the Bulldogs, did what they had to do in the first quarter, and that's what stuffed Darebin up. I think it was 27-1 off the top of my head at quarter time, and that's the game right there. But you could argue after quarter time, Darebin were the better team. They just, unfortunately, in the first quarter, got lots of goals kicked on them, 4 goals to be precise, and unfortunately that was probably the game there. I mean, if they got a few goals in the second quarter and got it to 2 goals at halftime, it's anyone's game. But unfortunately, they didn't. But they were able to quell the influence of the Bulldogs from quarter time onwards. And that's a credit to them, because the Bulldogs also had 10 AFLW players in the side. So, it's a credit to Darebin, who have only one former AFLW player, and that's Lulu Beattie. And she was terrific, as I said, with 28 disposals, 14 marks, 9 clearances. She's a star, 7 tackles. So Lulu was great. Ange Gokus. Lucy Burgess, in her first year of VFLW footy, was terrific. I was standing near her cheer squad, and she played really well, and particularly in that last quarter that I saw. She was probably one of the dominant players for both sides in that last quarter, along with Lulu Beattie and Ange Gokus and Shannon Egan and Sabine as well. So, yeah, credit to Lucy Burgess as well. I thought Taylor Tosi did really well. Darebin player, she is in her second game. Had 12 disposals in her first game, and on the weekend, in particular in the last quarter, I thought she played her part as well. But yeah, so Darebin got a lot to be happy with after quarter time. I feel like Reece Carr, the coach of the Bulldogs, should not be happy having 10 AFLW players in that team against Darebin, who haven't been the best side throughout the competition's history. And they were better than the Bulldogs after quarter time. It's just as simple as that. You have 10 AFLW players. Yes, you had a mass exodus, was another question in its own right. But you still got Marley McLeod. You still got all these players in your side. You got Tasman Crook down in the back line, who's a great player. You got the captain, Steph Asiak, who's a great player. So you still got all these players there with those 10 AFLW players. And after quarter time, non-existent. The team, that is. So that is a concern. So they shouldn't be content with a 21-point win, considering how the game started. You lost from quarter time onwards on the scoreboard and in general play, and you got 10 AFLW players in there. 10. And some decent VFLW listed players who should be on AFLW lists, the names that I just mentioned. And you just weren't that good after quarter time. Sure, did you keep on top? Yes, you did. But Darebin, if you watch the game, you would know they were better after quarter time. And that last quarter physically being there, I would have thought, without knowing the score, they were winning comfortably. That's how good they were going, and they took their opportunities. So it's credit to Darebin. I know they lost, but it was like a win in their own right. I know they won't be content, Darebin, with that loss, and they shouldn't be content with a loss. No one should. But great learnings out of it. So the players that are gelling, that are just playing VFLW for the first time, and some players that are coming back from injuries and coming back from injuries in the VFLW like Lulu Beatty did. It's credit to them, and they're doing well. That's why I said I don't think they'll finish on the bottom this year. I think that's reserved for Casey as well, with Geelong and Carlton. So we'll wait and see how they go. But after quarter time, great for Darebin, not so good for the Bulldogs, despite them getting the win. Essendon and Collingwood. Now, when I did this podcast last week, we had no idea, obviously, of the team sheets. And had Essendon not named 10 AFLW players themselves, I would have tipped Collingwood. Well, I still tipped Collingwood, but I wouldn't have tipped Collingwood. I would have tipped Essendon, and Essendon slaughtered them. But I still thought Collingwood would have been a chance because they've got some ex-AFLW players, some star VFLW listed players like Dom Carbone, who's their captain from the Bulldogs, now at the Pies, and their captain, who was the Bulldogs captain. So Lily Rose Williamson, Talia Fellows, Jordan Ivey. They got plenty of ex-AFLW players on that list. So Molly Eastman, Courtney Jones, got a lot of great players, the Pies. In fact, I take that back. I was still going to tip them, but I would have thought instead of a blowout in Collingwood's favour, it would have been a close game. But it was the opposite. The Bombers slaughtered the Pies, and the coach of the Pies, Tom, should not be happy at all with that performance. With the players you've got, no matter how many AFLW players Essendon had, they were their younger players and the players on the fringe side of things. So it's a credit to the Bombers team for doing great. Why Megan Misford, by the way, was dropped after having a best-on-ground performance last week. Kicked a goal, 22 disposals, like 9 clearances, and was dropped. I get 10 AFLW players were coming in, but you got about 7 or 8 VFLW listed players who were playing on the weekend, and why she wasn't is just pathetic, I think. But they got the win, so they'll say it worked, but she should be back in the side with or without those AFLW players in this week, should Megan Misford, who was also in my team of the week last week. But great for the Bombers. Mia Bush, as I said, was great. Taya Chambers, the whole team really for the Bombers was really good. I know I had some of them in my team of the week as well. They were just outright awesome. Chloe Adams, best on ground easily. Chloe Adams was terrific. A goal, 20 disposals, 10 tackles, and everything in between. She was terrific. Chloe Adams, who's in her second year as well. The Pies were not good, and there wasn't many major key contributors for them, but hopefully they can bounce back this week. Now, the next game was Geelong 29, Carlton 48. Carlton by 19 points in Geelong. Again, Geelong should not be content with this effort. I get it. They brought it back to 2 goals in the last quarter, but the damage was done. So the difference was between Darebin and Geelong. Darebin dominated the back end of the game. Geelong did okay, but the damage was done, and they didn't look like they were going to pass them. Jemima Woods has been a great recruit for Geelong, and she was probably one of their best players. Their captain, Mel Staunton's doing some surfing stuff overseas, so they missed her. definitely. Simone Norder, who is their ruck, the former Saint, is had a stomach injury, it said, on the ins and outs when they posted it. So that's not ideal for Simone. Hopefully she's back in this week for Geelong. So they need experience, and I feel like that's why they lost. Because Carlton had a few AFLW players like Brooke Vickers and Lila Keck, Amelia Velado, who did really well as well, Lulu Field, who was one of their top draft picks this year. So they've done really well, Carlton, on the weekend. But I will hold my judgment for them still, because they only played Geelong, and they had like 10 AFLW players, and Geelong had one, and it was a first-year ruck who's come from a volleyball background who got injured early. So, sorry, one current player and one former in Jemima Woods who is good, who should be on an AFLW list again soon, having a great start to her Geelong VFLW career. Hopefully for her, she's on an AFLW list before this season is finished. As I mentioned with Carlton, all them names that I mentioned were true. Now, Sandy, 26, Casey, 24, Sandy by 2 points, 26 at 24. The wind at Moorabbin was all over the place, so it was hard for scoring, so, we'll accept that. But what I won't accept is you have so many stars in that Sandy side. Melbourne, I know they had some AFLW players like Georgia Campbell, Megan Fitzsimon, who were their two best players. But in terms of the team's standard, like quality, Sandy is so far ahead of Casey, it's not funny. So Casey can be happy with their efforts that they got 2 points short here. Now, that last 5 minutes that I was watching on my phone, that was nerve-wracking. It was giving me a bit of a deja vu for the Sandy VFL side for the clash against Richmond 2 weeks ago. Same end of the ground, same situation. It was in the pack for the last few minutes. It was nervous for me watching this. At the Saints game, I had watching this on my phone. So it was like, oh, God, I hope they don't lose this. Then I don't know who the player was off the top of my head, but it was a kick out of the pack. The ball bounced in the same spot that Richmond VFL got a mark after the siren. They kicked it into the centre of the field. Like, oh, no, not again. It bounced a few metres short, thank God, of the Melbourne player. Then there was a tackle and everything like that. And Sandy just held on. And why the hell did the clock go for 22 minutes in the last quarter when they normally always end on 20 minutes flat? So I don't know what happened there, but oh God, I was a bit nervous there. Thinking, no. It's giving me flashbacks to 2 weeks ago when Sandy v Richmond in the VFL men's team, they choked after the siren. I thought, Sandy, please don't. As you led all game, do not lose it on the siren again. Not for the women's side, but the men's side did that. So I'm hoping the women's don't do that, because I'd be very annoyed with that. But Charlotte Baskaran, superstar recruit for the Saints from the Hawks. Star for VFLW, too good for VFLW. She'll be a star for the Saints AFL this year on a 3-year deal. Charlotte Baskaran, superstar. Winger, half forward, can run all day, can kick, and loves a goal as well. She was great. I thought, there was a lot of good plays, but Megan Fitzsimon for the Demons was great. Georgia Campbell, 53 hit-outs, superstar. Megan Fitzsimon, 53. Sorry, that's 53 hits for Georgia Campbell and 15 disposals. Fitzy had 30 disposals, like 11 tackles and like 9 clearances. Superstar performance and like 9 marks as well with Fitzy. So Ray Taylor was good in the back line. A few plays kicked up for a few goals, which are good for the Demons. But yeah, so Sandy, I don't think there was many standout performances besides Charlotte Baskaran. I thought other players played their part, but gee, we survived the scare there. Hopefully they can bounce back properly to Sandy against Carlton this week at Icon Park. Right, so final game to go through is the Box Hill Port Melbourne clash. Box Hill 40, Port Melbourne 34. The Box Hill Hawks by 6 points. Port Melbourne got to about a 20-point lead in the second quarter and choked it. There's no way else to put it. Georgia Booth kicked a goal and I thought that was it. Caitlin O'Keefe kicked a goal and played her part as well. There's a few other goals as well, and I thought that was it. That was it. Box Hill, through Stacey Stevenson and a few other players, it just got some goals and they got the momentum on their side. Then they hit the lead and Port Melbourne got another one, and then Box Hill got another one late, and there was a few behinds to end the game. So credit to Box Hill for holding on and coming from behind. I didn't think there was any major standouts for Box Hill. I thought Matilda Van Berkel was pretty good. But Port Melbourne probably had the individual players that were better. But they choked and Box Hill came back. So it's a credit to them. And now they're 2-0 and second on the ladder behind North Melbourne and Sandy are third. They're the three undefeated sides, Sandy, North Melbourne and Box Hill. Port Melbourne should not be happy with that. They had the game in their favour and they blew it. But it is what it is. So there we go. So now let's go preview the round 3 games to wrap us up this evening. By the way, too, my standout player for the round, if you didn't notice already, it was Lulu Beattie. 28 disposals, 14 marks on return, 10 tackles, 9 clearances, just an all-round superstar performance. And a special shout-out to, of course, George Campbell again for 53 hit-outs and 15 disposals. That was just elite. Amy Trinidad at 30. Chloe Adams kicked a goal on 20 and 10 tackles and 9 clearances. So it was very hard to choose. Charlotte Bascaran, 22 disposals, 14 tackles, 9 clearances. It was just Fitzy, 30 disposals, 10 tackles, 9 clearances, 9 intercept possessions. It was just so bloody hard to choose between all of them. I thought long and hard with this, but I've gone with Lulu Beattie. Probably helped that I was at that game physically and saw the work she was putting in. But she was fantastic. And Stella Reid was stellar yet again. So let's review the round 3 games. The first game, again, all these time slots are all within half an hour to an hour of each other pretty much. And all on Saturday. 10:05 a.m. at Vic Park. It's Collingwood hosting the Bulldogs. I'll be tipping the Pies in this one by 5 points. 10:35 a.m. at Genesis Steel Oval in Preston. That's Darebin's home ground, and they're hosting Port Melbourne. I'll be tipping Port Melbourne in this one by 12 points, but if Darebin can play how they did in the last 3 quarters, don't be shocked if Darebin win this, but I'm going to go Port Melbourne to be safe by 12 points. Essendon and North Melbourne at Windy Hill, 11:05 a.m. Victorian time. I'll be tipping North Melbourne in this one by 26 points, and they'll take advantage of the breeze at Windy Hill. 1:05 p.m. at Icon Park, it's Carlton hosting Sandy. I'll be tipping Sandringham in this one by 22 points. Hopefully they can bounce back with a big win after they almost lost to Casey. And hopefully a few players will be back. It was great to see Izzy Hartog, too, come back for Sandy and make her VFLW debut for Sandy. Lily Skinner also played a part as well in the first 2 games that I forgot to mention before. So Sandringham by 22 points. And the last game, 6:15 p.m. at DSV Stadium in Williamstown. It's Williamstown hosting Geelong. I'll be tipping Williamstown this one by 36 points. I think they'll easily account for Geelong. My final thoughts are simply this. If you know any VFLW players, AFLW players, any up-and-coming draftees, or any other state league players, and you'd like to see them on the podcast in a goal kicking challenge and or interview, please do send me a message and try and get something sorted. Now, if you would like to be a co-host in the show, also message me on Instagram at AFL Info Live. Happy to have 3 or 4 other people on the call. It doesn't have to be one more person. I would love to have as many people on as possible to talk all things VFLW. Thank you all. Until the next episode, the most important thing of all to remember is enjoy the footy, be loud and proud with your team, and hopefully Sandy can get the win for me this week. Thank you all, and go the Zebras.